Hey everybody, it's Rory from ANSgear. We're going to take a look at the brand new Axe Pros. We just got them in today, so we're going to take a look at these, show you the difference between the new Axe Pros and the old Axe, what you're getting, what's different, how it's changed, and why it's better potentially. So we've got the three colors out right here. We've got the blue, silver, red, black, and the brown, silver. You guys can kind of get a look at the colors right here. We're really just going to use one of them to focus on the differences and everything, but we wanted everybody to see the different colors right here. This is the new box that you're getting. You're going to get inside your box, obviously you're going to get your manual, your gun, your two-piece barrel is going to fit in here, parts kit, barrel sleeve, pretty much the same standard fare as you were getting before. Move that out of the way. As you can see here, I've got an older axe. This is the standard axe. First thing we'll do is we'll weigh two guns so you guys can see a difference in weight between the two. So we've got here, I'll turn that thing on, make sure it's even. So we've got an original axe here. This has the one-piece barrel, one-piece 12-inch barrel. And you can see it comes up at about 2 pounds, 5.1 ounces. So here's a brand new Axe Pro with the two-piece 14-inch barrel, and we've got 2 pounds, 3.4 ounces. So almost 2 ounces lighter with a longer barrel, a two-piece longer barrel. So we'll get that out of the way. We're going to set this one off to the side. We'll leave it still right there. Then we'll focus on this one right here. So I'm going to bring the old axe in right here so we can take a look at it. A couple things you're going to notice right off the bat, obviously two-piece barrel. 688 bore, two-piece, 14-inch barrel is what's going to come stock on the Axe Pros now. So you can see the difference in length right there. Now if we're to take the bodies and just put the bodies next to each other without their barrels in them, I stand them up on their ends, you can see that the axe is actually slightly longer. It's maybe a ½ inch longer than the new Axe Pro. So what they've done is by getting a longer barrel on there, they've actually created a little bit of space in here too. They've shortened down the trigger guard a little bit and given you that space to wrap your hand around it. They've changed the bolt guide a little bit and made it a little bit smaller so that they can make the body slightly smaller. Now that change in body length, you're not going to notice it at all because of the way the grip is now and because of the way, or the two-piece barrel that comes with it. So starting at the front, you can see that the grip is narrower. It's actually more like a real grip now. The battery they've turned sideways on the inside, so you can see it's a wider grip, but thinner from the side here. That gives you this room inside here to get your finger around it. Comes with the red line grip in there, or the red line board, so you've got all your functions, joystick function, your LCD readout on there. It's going to give you the updates of everything that's going on inside your gun. The interface is going to be much simpler right there. So moving around the top of the gun, you can see that they've done away with this old detent system, which I'm glad they did. These would strip out if you were trying to remove them. You could have all sorts of issues with them. They get gummy and all sorts of paint inside of them. So they've gone with a true detent style right here, which lets you access the detent, or the new eye cover. So it lets you access the detent. Take it all the way off there. And as well, you can see the new eye system that's in here as well. So you've got your normal detent at the top. This would be very similar to a Planet Eclipse detent or the Vanquish, the older style Vanquish detent. So they're easy to replace, easy to maintain, cheap to get new ones if you need to. And you can see the new eyes there also. Going up towards the top of the gun, put the eye cover back on. The feed neck now is a clamp style, body clamp style feed neck. Still has the cam lever up here, but on the old one, the feed neck threaded into the body. Now this screws on or clamps onto the body. So you've got one screw that clamps the feed neck onto the top of the body and one screw that used for the cam lever. A much sturdier system. You're not going to snap it off, break it, have it fall out of your gun, anything like that. Very, very smart change for the feed neck system on there. Moving a little bit further back, the trigger right here, it's the same style trigger, but it's now removable with a set screw. So we can get inside there, we can undo this, pull the post out, and do any adjustments we need or clean the trigger out. Before you had to knock this pin out with a punch. They've gotten rid of that, making it just a very easy system to maintain. Move down to the bottoms, you can see it's the smaller relay system. Still the on and off, but just the smaller version of it right there. Saves weight, does the same job. You don't need all this big old thing on there anymore. So it makes the gun just overall lighter, more compact. Coming around to the back side, the bolt removal system, they've made that easier as well. So now all you need to do to get the bolt out is just push the button on the side. It's not always going to pop out like that on you, depending on what kind of lube you're using, how you're using it, if it's dirty or not. You push the button, it might stay, but they've got a nice cutout up here so you can grab a hold of it. So let's just say you push the button and it did stay in place. You just grab a hold of it right there and go ahead and pull it out. That comes out there. I grab the bolt and bring it out. Put that on there. Move those over. I'm going to remove the original so you can see a difference right there. Overall, or already, you can see that there's a big difference in the size of the bolt, or the length of the bolt right there. Most noticeable in the back end of the bolt guide. Now, if we line up the O-ring, the front bolt guide O-rings, and the rear, you can see that the chamber, the volume chamber, is still the same size. So the amount of air the gun's using is still the same, but the back side of the bolt, or the bolt guide, they've shortened it down. There's no need to have that so long at the back anymore. So they shortened it up, making for just a lighter, smaller bolt guide. And then the actual bolt, you can see at the front, they are the same length, I think. Yeah, same length. So the bolt, actual bolt itself, the spring is the same. It's just the guide has been shortened up just to make it an altogether lighter, better system. And when you go to put it in, all you need to do is just line it up, slide it in, and push. You don't need to turn it, twist it. You don't need to push the button. You just push it through, and it locks in place. So I've got that on there. I'll lock that one down. So those are your major differences from the outside. Now I do have one here that I've pulled a lot of the screws out of already so that we can open it up and see inside of it. So I'm going to pull the guide out. I'm going to separate my two halves here. The new separation points are from the top, so there's a screw that you're going to have on the top right there, and then the same one at the back right there. So those two are going to let you separate your two halves apart. From this point right here, what you'll want to do is remove all the 6 screws that hold the transfer plate to the body. Before you move those screws though, you want to remove your upper transfer tube, unplug your solenoid, and remove your solenoid off there as well. And then your plate will come right off. Then you can see this is the new board, the new eye board with your new eye system inside there too. So easy to clean, easy to maintain. You can just pop your eye system out, clean your eyes. You don't have to jam a Q-tip up in there anymore to get to the eye wells. You can take the cover off, get to your eyes from this side, get to your eyes from the inside. It's just a better system altogether for the eyes. It was just always a pain cleaning those up right there. And then you just get it all back together. I'll give you a look inside the foregrip as well, real quick. You can see that pops off right there. You see your battery's now on its side rather than flat. They've also run a gasket all the way around the door here. It's going to help keep paint out, moisture out, just overall protect the board, and also keep it from rattling too. So if it was loose in any way, it would keep it from rattling. So we'll go ahead and take this, kind of just set it all back up real quick. Put our door back on here. Make sure it all lines up as it should. Take our plate, attach that on there. Got all of our screws here. I'm going to set these all up. You can see they've changed the number of screws also. I believe there was either 7 or 8 before, but now they've got their transfer plate screws down to 6. Tighten these down. It's always a good idea to make sure that your eye wires aren't pinched or anything like that. If you ever take any of this apart, always check this stuff to make sure that your wires aren't getting crushed by your plate. Now that there are wires there, before you didn't have to worry about it, but now you do have to worry about it a little bit. Still a better system, but there's just things you got to be aware of. Put our solenoid back on. Plug her in. Upper transfer tube, screw that in. Make sure that our solenoid wires aren't in the way of our micro switch. Sometimes those can get under the switch. When you go to pull the trigger, the switch can't activate because your solenoid wires are in the way. Then we will line this up. Make sure that our trigger is not engaged there. Another thing you want to be careful with when you're putting this back together, you can see the prongs right there from your board. You want to make sure that they're going into their appropriate slot right there, into the socket. If you try to assemble this and the prongs aren't lined up properly, you could potentially ruin the socket or ruin the prongs on your board, and then you're going to be out of board and have to buy a new one. So make sure everything lines up. Get it in there. Before you put this screw in and start wrenching it down, this screw on the back side here, you're going to want to tighten it up a little bit. You want to bring it a couple turns in. That's going to bring the two halves closer together and allow you to get that to tighten up that front one without putting a lot of bending stress on the body itself. So we got that on there. Take our screw. Tighten that down. And then switch back to the back side and do our last bit of tightening back there. Always kind of want to do them even, never one and then the next. So that's back together. Take our bolt, push it together, and we're done. So the new Axe Pro, I think, is a definite step up from the other one. All the problems or all the issues that I thought the normal Axe had, which weren't a lot to begin with. I thought it was a great shooter. They've all been addressed with this. The distance between the grip, the size of the relay, the size of the bolt, and most of all the eye covers, or the eyes and the eye covers, all have been addressed. And the feed neck. Those things were my only issues, and they've fixed them all, which I think is great. So this is the new Axe Pro. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the subscribe button, and also leave any comments or questions you have. If you have any questions or you have things that you would like to see, make sure you post those up there. Definitely leave comments on what you think of the gun. If you think it's better, if you think they did the right thing, the wrong thing, leave us those comments so we can answer any questions or just see what everybody has to say. So don't forget to subscribe. Check out the new Axe Pros. They're available in multiple colors through the website, and order yours now through ANSgear.com.